Risk of Rain 2 is amazing. It's a roguelike shooter where you can pick one of many characters to do a run with. Unlike The Binding of Isaac, there aren't 2 million items, so you don't need to have the wiki strapped on you at all times just to understand what's going on. The main goal of the game is to find these teleporters on each stage, activate them, fight a boss, and then leave to the next stage, with the difficulty constantly rising as time goes on. There are chests on each stage containing random items, some good, some not so good. If you're like me, your immediate instinct would be to open as many of these chests as possible before starting the teleporter so the boss fight is easier. But honestly, it's better to just do the teleporter after you just get a few chests. Not getting anything good and the difficulty already being way too high is just too big of a risk. It forces you to work quick on your feet, so you're constantly engaged. Items are split into 6 different rarities. Gray is the most common, but gray items have the most versatility. Like I said earlier, some of the items are pretty much useless. There's an item called the bustling fungus, which heals you in an AoE pool when you stand still. But in this game, enemies are constantly flying at you, and especially in later levels, not moving is a guaranteed death sentence. But the bustling fungus becomes infinitely more useful on a certain character, which I'll talk about later. That's what I like about Risk of Rain 2's item pool. You could be playing a character and get an item that sucks for your character, but on another character the item could be a necessity. It adds a lot of diversity to gameplay, especially if you're playing with friends. Next up is the green items. Although these items can be extremely helpful, there are way too many useless ones. What I like about the white items is that they all serve a purpose, and are always useful in some way. Getting an item that spawns a decaying squid turret when interacting with something is just useless in comparison to all of the other items. But if you get lucky, you can get a bunch of items that heal you if you hit something. Next, we have the red items, the rarest of the rare. These items usually can only be found by purchasing a hidden chest that is always super expensive. Or if you get really lucky, you can just pray to Allah at an altar and one might just pop out. There are definitely balance issues with these items, like one of them makes all of your attacks explode in a 4-meter radius, and one of them just reduces the cooldowns on your abilities. But I personally like it, as it makes the choice of saving up money for the super expensive chests less black and white. The next items are yellow. They can only be dropped by bosses and are usually very useful, but also very situational. For example, one of these items makes your critical strikes bleed enemies, but this is only really useful if you have items that give you crit chance. The next set of items are orange. They are items that you have to activate by pressing a key, and most of the time just completely useless, or they even hinder you. So usually I don't go out of my way to pick these up. And last but not least are the blue items. These items are incredibly weird. Literally every other item in this game gives you a benefit, or an alleged benefit, but these items always have a trade-off. For example, the shaped glass gives you double damage but halves your health, which in turn makes you a glass cannon. These items should usually only be taken if you have items that just can counter the negative effects. Music in games is always important to me. In my opinion, music carries about 50% of a scene's emotional value, and the right song for the right moment always makes or breaks that moment for me. If you have a really emotional moment, it can be completely ruined by the wrong song. Here's an example.
Amanda says she wants me to bring you around the house sometime for dinner. One of these nights, huh? Fuck. I mean, I don't know what I did to deserve this motherfucking luck. Got my kids back, my wife, and a job that I love. I mean, I made it. We made it. You and me, bro. What?
I like you, dawg, and you know this. I risked everything for your ass, dawg.
What is this?
Look, man, me and you know this shit ain't over, dawg. We both realists.
The fuck is this? You? You came here to fucking clip me? You? Fuck!
With that being said, Risk of Rain 2 perfectly encapsulates that feeling of being in an environment unfamiliar to, with danger around every corner. Alright, lastly, I'll talk about the first few characters you can play. Every character has extra abilities you can unlock by doing challenges, but for simplicity's sake, I'll just talk about their base abilities. First up is the Commando. He's one of 2 characters you start with in Risk of Rain 2. He is pretty much just your basic bitch character. He has 2 pistols, a mega epic blast, a dive, and you can fire a bunch of shots at once. He's good to start out on and learn the game, but beyond that, he's not very good. Next up is Multi, or as I like to call him, Wally. He has a machine gun, a super powerful shot with a long reload time, a grenade that stuns and damages enemies, epic car mode, and his special ability is being able to hold 2 active items. He is my personal favorite, and is especially fun when you unlock his other abilities. The last character I'll talk about is the Engineer. He's the equivalent of a toddler with the fidget spinner. You place your turrets down and run like a little bitch while they do all the work for you. He can spawn 2 turrets, landmines, and a bubble shield. Now, remember when I was talking about the bustling fungus and how it's not good because you want to be constantly moving? Well, on the Engineer, it becomes the busted fungus. Every item you obtain on the Engineer also attaches to your turrets. And while you'll be running, watching the funny colors explode, your standstill turrets can have the busted fungus regen them to full health in seconds. It's basically a necessity for the Engineer. Anyways, that concludes my epic video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if this video interested you at all, you should definitely try out Risk of Rain 2.